appreciate you being here so much. Yeah. So you're in your holiday attire. It's October, so I appreciate the outfit you got on. That's cool.
Happy fall, y'all.
Yeah. So you're going to describe a little bit about the process once someone shows interest. So let me just dive right in.
Mm-hmm.
Someone shows interest. Maybe they're watching this video or somehow or another they heard from another owner that
Right.
Robert's Realty Property Management is great. Okay, so the call comes in or the email comes in.
Yes.
It ends up with you. I mean, you
Right.
get that call or you get that email. What is your next steps? What happens then?
First, I like to speak with our owners.
Right.
Talk to each person who's interested, because we are all individual, unique.
Yes.
So every owner has their own goals, whether it's to rent out the property for long-term, short-term. They want to maybe come back home to the property. We have a lot of military owners here who want to rent out their property here and then ultimately come back to return to retire here.
Yeah.
Which is smart.
Right.
So there's a lot of different reasons of why. So I like to meet with our owners and get the whys,
Yeah.
what's important to them.
Mhm.
That's one of the things I love about Robert's Realty, by the way, is that we don't cookie cutter approach our methods. We tailor things. So
Every house is unique. Every
house,
person
yes.
is unique.
Absolutely.
And they have different reasons for doing what they're doing.
Yes.
And so we have to match up with that.
yes, so we get to the why for the property and for the owners. That's step number one. I like to see the home and have the owners walk me through. If they live in the home, because there's a couple different scenarios. We have owners who obviously live there, who are looking to move, PCS of the military, whatever it may be, or owners that just buy, so they've never lived in the home. So there's a lot of different scenarios there. But I like to go to the house, see the house for myself, so I get a good feel for it, so I can obviously handle that property as its unique property.
Okay.
So that's step number one. Get to know the owners, what their goals are, where they're going with it, why they're doing it, because that matters. It matters in the long run how we manage the property. If an owner wants to come back to that property, then they might want to have it maintained in a little bit different way than if they were just using it as an investment property.
Right. And then there's a whole features thing too. If someone has a pool or they have a perfect manicured lawn, I mean,
Yes.
there's a couple of things that need to change.
Yes, and exactly for that reason, if it has a perfectly manicured lawn and they want to maintain it that way, then we have to have a certain level of property management, whether it be landscapers in place that's
Right.
paid for as part of the lease, and that's a discussion we need to have with that owner. So yes, and pools, we need to have addendums on how that's going to be maintained, and again, to what level. So.
Right.
Exactly. And HOAs, another big issue. We need to know whether the property's in the HOA and how that needs to be handled with the HOA management company.
Right. And I know, and we talked about a few of these things we're going to be covering in future videos that we talked about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's next? What's after that? You've reviewed the property. You've already gotten the why from the owner. They probably feel some level of, if not comfort, at least understanding of you and you of them.
Right.
What's next after that?
So once an owner decides they want to come on board with us, we're very happy, obviously, thrilled with that.
Okay, great. So they just sign electronically or in paper or whatever.
Either way, yep.
Yeah.
Again, we don't have one way or the highway kind of approach here. It's very flexible. So once an owner comes on board with us, we then sit down, go through the property, as I said, make sure we have all of that information documented. We have an owner information sheet. If they've lived in the property and they know it intimately, every property has a quirk or some kind of little idiosyncrasy that needs to be explained.
Right. Yes.
So I help kind of document that process so we can pass that information on to the tenants. And we have our tenants portal, just like we have an owner's portal. Right. So we leave that information kind of like a binder, if you will, on a how-to for the tenant. So we walk through all those things. We document all that, process all that, put it into our system. So by the time we're done, we have a full database of that property on file, and that includes us going in and doing full inspection when the owners leave, or if they just bought it when we go into it. Yeah. And we literally cover from the curb of the road to the back of the fence of the property, inside and out, from baseboard to ceiling. We have covered every inch of that house by the time we're done, and we have it documented. So it's either the baseline of our discussions with the owner, If there's something that needs to be done prior to it being rent-worthy, let's say it doesn't have enough smoke alarms. So we're helping also with legalities and making sure that that property is not gonna cause any liability issues for owners.
Yeah.
So that's a big, big step. Taking
Hey,
that look
owners,
at it.
there
Yes.
are liability
There are,
issues.
lots of it. Addicts.
If you haven't managed property before, you want to reduce the liability. It's
Absolutely.
really important. Hopefully, there's never an issue, but if there is an issue, it needs to be reduced.
Right.
And so, yeah.
And better to take care of it before we start.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want that to happen. So,
Mhm.
so we look at the liabilities. We make sure that we're looking at it from all angles in processing it, so that by the time we start managing it, we have all of the appliances inventory. We know the year, make, models. So, Lord forbid if something does break down. First of all, we know whether it's worth to fix it, based on the age of the appliance or system. We already have all the information in our database, so we don't have to call a vendor only to have them go out to get that information, which is money wasted. So we try to be one step ahead with it. Saves us time, saves the owners money, tenants aggravation, so it's a win-win for everybody when we do it right from the start. So we're just very thorough. We make sure we go through the property, have it all in processed, have that inspection process done, and then that inspection allows us, as I said, to either use it as a baseline to start our conversations with the owner on any repairs that might be needed, or that could be our baseline for our security deposits, because again, now we have another legal liability area where we want to make sure that we're setting the owners and the property up for success for any potential issues down the road with tenants, which we've been very fortunate here in not having very many, if any. But we want to make sure that we are ready for that, if in the case we need it. So that's inspection is our baseline. And then after that, we're done. Once everything's cleared and ready to go, we then go on to our photos. Send in our photographers, they do our photos, our 3D, our videos, get that all done, get it ready for the MLS.
Right, so we have a person in-house who is a professional photographer and a 3D tours. A lot of these people from out of town are looking to move here. They don't even have the opportunity to look at a house in person. So the 3D tours really help a rental go ahead and move.
Yes.
And so military often has that, and then COVID has added even another layer of why 3D tours are so helpful.
Yep.
Okay, good. So we get that all on the market that way.
Get it on the market, and then we work with the rest of our team in getting it put out there, advertised, screen our tenants and our applicants, and send our owners a nice qualified list of whoever's interested and also already approved, vetted through all of our systems, which is another great aspect of what we do here at Roberts Realty in vetting our tenants.
Definitely. And so we're going to do another video on this. We're going to have Danielle, who's the expert at vetting those tenants, talk about what she does here in this next video, because getting that right applicant, that's what it's all about. Angela, thank you so much for your work at Roberts Realty Property Management. You do a great job in making things happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.